Well, tell us another
What'd
story.
you conjure?
I didn't conjure anything. I'm not allowed to do that.
But you didn't use fucking like voodoo or something, or is that the wrong shade?
Hoodoo.
That is the wrong shade and the wrong island. We don't do that in Cuba.
Oh, Cuba.
Hmm.
I thought you were Puerto Rican.
I am not Puerto Rican. My stepdad is Puerto Rican.
Oh. Anyway, tell us a story about Cubano Mexico.
I feel like anytime you go to a country that's been more established than America, you can kind of feel the ghosts in the room.
Okay. Well, tell us a fucking
You
story.
feel like the historical significance of the places that you go, right? Like even if you were to go somewhere here, you went to like a museum or whatever that explained all kinds of shit. If you go to the Holocaust Museum, you can feel all the dead, all three of them.
You give a
Anyway,
little too much credit. Come on.
anyway. But while we were there, you just sort of pick up on things that you wouldn't normally feel somewhere else, right? So you feel maybe like a presence in the room, or you feel like, I don't know, dumbfounded by the amount of people who've like walked in the same spot that you're walking. And I don't think that it has too much to do with like maybe trying to think the right word. Like your given perception of reality at that time, but rather like everyone sort of has this collective thing where we recognize like, oh, I'm not the only person in the world. Like there were people here before me who did lots of stuff before me, and I should probably recognize that, right?
I
Yeah.
can see that.
And how would you? Okay, so this is just my personal interpretation.
Yeah.
How would you describe that feeling? Because whenever I feel like a spiritual, like ancestral presence or something, because around here in a place called Shawnee Lookout, we have these old, like not revolutionary, but like when people founded out here, and when they were colonizing and settling and all that stuff, we have these old schoolhouses and churches and all that stuff that were literally built in the early 1800s, like 1802 type shit. And
Yeah.
sometimes when I would go into these places, when we would go up there to like just look at stuff, I felt like a heavy presence.
Yeah, like the air pressure feels heavier and you feel like
Yes!
there's someone watching you almost, or like someone standing behind you.
Yeah.
And like it feels like that. It also feels like someone is kind of standing right next to you, even though no one's there.
Yeah.
But like almost not like right next to you, but almost like in your own personal space where you're like, whoa.
Okay, so I'm not alone in that.
You're definitely not alone in that.
Okay, because I felt that a lot, and I might try to pay more attention to that next time. I thought it was just like because there was lots of mildew in there or something. Honestly, I'm being like completely legit. I don't know.
It could just also be like your brain tricking you and being awestruck when you realize that like so many people were there. This thing is like so old. But you definitely, if you feel something there, it's probably there.
Yeah, for sure. Excuse me 1 second. I'll be back in a minute. Just keep talking. I'll be back in 1 second.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I think it's possible that like that feeling. I think it might be indicative of a greater longing to be part of like your culture and your surroundings and your environment. Like I can see it being like an evolutionary tool.
Yeah, I get that. Especially like when I went to Cuba because it's not somewhere that I grew up, obviously, but I have cultural ties to it. Like you kind of you want to be a part of something bigger than yourself, and I feel like that's kind of just the human condition almost.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Sorry, a katydid was in my house. And my cat was trying to eat it, and I was gonna feel bad if that happened.
What are those again? I gotta look up these crazy ass bugs.
They're like grasshoppers, except that they can sing, and by that I mean rub their legs and their wings to make noise.
That sounds awful. Bugs are cool.
What? No.
Anyway,
Yeah. So when the hell did you go to Cuba? That sounds interesting.
February of 2018.
Okay, so it was after Obama dropped the embargo stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to start going then.
How was that? How The cars must have been really interesting.
Oh my god, they were so beautiful. I have pictures. I can send them to you over Facebook later.
Okay, definitely do
It was
that.
so beautiful, but it was so sad being there. Everything looked like it just needed a fresh coat of paint. Like the whole island could just do with a fresh coat of paint. It's obviously not going to get that. They don't
Shit.
have
Weren't they like essentially just in like a time capsule for like a few decades?
basically, yeah. It's strange to see all of the architecture and the cars and stuff still looking the way they do, but then every once in a while you'll see someone with like a newer car, like a Fiat or something, and you're like, where the heck did this come from? Or like my cousin pulled out an iPhone and I was like, what? Like, how did you get one of those? Who sent you one in the mail? Like, how did they not intercept that? What do you mean? How do you have one of those?
Oh, that's weird. That's cool though. That's weird, but it's cool.
And like their system for making money and being able to save money is absurd. I think they make like $25 in a month.
Wow.
Like they're equivalent to $25 in a month. So if you want to save for something important, like you have to save forever. The easiest thing to do for them really is just to ask relatives who don't live there anymore, who live in like America or somewhere else, at least even a little bit more affluent, to send them money.
So if you sent like $50 American to them.
Okay, let me put it this way. We went out to dinner and there was a group of 8 of us and we all ate really well. We all got like some kind of meat and like rice or whatever with our dishes, and we all shared everything and got drinks and stuff.
Yeah.
We fed 8 people for $40, 40 American dollars.
God. Well, I know where I'm going on my next vacation.
I wouldn't recommend going to Havana if you want stuff like that. It's probably the easiest for most people who speak English just because they appeal to tourists over there. But they do jack up their prices a little bit. It's still extremely cheap, but they know that's where the tourists want to go.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm kind of trying to learn Spanish. It's just I should not have coupled learning German and Spanish at the same time because it is like it's funny. I was telling somebody at work the other day about how S in German, ES is it, but S in Spanish is. And it's just it fucks my brain up sometimes.
There's a black lady delivering my sandwich, and her name is Venus.
Oh, good lord.
Dude, you guys see that? You see that? She's a doctor. She's a black female doctor named Pepsi Marijuana.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh
They go together like peanut butter and jelly.
my god.
Like legit, I'm not even kidding. That's really her fucking name, and it's just like.
Well, yeah, she's like refusing to get it changed because it's her heritage. That's what I'm gonna go with, at least.
Just imagine being in a hospital and just hearing over the intercom, "Shh, paging Dr. Pepsi Marijuana."
Honestly, I would leave if they hire someone with that name. Like, they're not going to give me the best care. They're just not.
Maybe they rose out of the ghetto against all odds.
I don't care. I don't care if it's like the best hospital in America. I don't trust them. If they're hiring people who just are absolutely ridiculous, then I'm going to get absolutely ludicrous care, and I'm not going to stay there. No, screw
Jax,
that.
are you doubting a woman that rose from poverty beat all of
Sure,
the
I'm doubting
odds?
black women in general.
Paging Dr. McDonald's methamphetamine.
That's.
Oh my god. I couldn't even imagine. I understand that at this point in 2019, because current year, like, it's just a pride thing for her because she just refuses to change it so she can be unique and special and be like, oh, look at me, you're only making fun of my name because I'm black and something blah 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 blah, whatever. Like, dude, in the name of professionalism, please change it to like Penelope Martin.
Penelope Martin.
Keep your initials. Just like why? It's so
like
weird to me.
Shaniqua Jenkins. I'm like, this makes
Better.
sense. This makes
It's better.
perfect sense.
It's a step up.
Shaniqua Jenkins.
We are not talking about ghosts anymore.
Oh yeah, let's
We're
go
talking
back
about spooks.
Oh, damn it! You beat me to it.
Oh my god.
Do you have any ghost stories, Matt? Did I ask you this already?
I have one kind of short one, but okay. So it was something that I personally experienced, but was also too young to know, but then was told to me later. And this ties in when I went to Chicago, actually. So, excuse me. So when I was a little kid, probably about 3 years old, we were in my old house when I used to live about 30 minutes away from here. And this house was built in the mid 1800s, so it was like slavery slash Civil War time. And we were upstairs. So this house was built essentially to be two one-story houses, one on top of the other. And we were in the second story, which had like a full bathroom, full bath, full three bedrooms and a living room. It was fucking nice. I don't know why we ever moved. It had something to do with like mold, and my mom was getting headaches. Thank you, mom. You fucked up a good house. Just kidding. But no. So I was up there, and I ended up hearing people talking, and it was just me, my mom, and my sister Danielle. Just the three of us in the house, and we were just upstairs. I don't even know what we were doing. It doesn't matter. And I overheard two other people talking in the kitchen area. And this was a time when we were auctioning off some just old shit that we didn't need just from my great grandparents. And I don't even remember what they said. Well, obviously I don't, and whatever, it doesn't matter. And I just overheard two people talking in the kitchen upstairs. And I literally, apparently, turned to my mom and was like, who are those people talking? And no one else heard anything. And it was just really weird because no physical living people were talking, but I heard other people having a conversation in another part of the upstairs. And when we went to Chicago, I went there with both my sisters, my sister's boyfriend, and then my niece, nephew, and other nephew, but that doesn't matter. And we were at a bar, me, my sister, and her boyfriend, and we sat down and we're talking to these people. And for some reason, my sister just opens up with, "You guys believe in ghosts?" It's like, oh, that's some random shit. Thank you, sis. Now these people are never going to talk to us again. And we started talking about it, and she brought that up, and she's like, I did not hear anyone talking, but you promised that you heard people talking. And I was just like, I don't even know, bro. I don't know. It was weird. It's one of those things.
Did you say you had an inkling of who it could be? Like who would be in the house? You like people before you, I guess?
The people that lived in the house before me were my great grandparents that I never met. In my family, we do so. The grandfather, his first name is the grandson's middle name. So this would have been my grandpa Lawrence. And yeah, I don't know. It was really fucking weird because I just heard other people talking. And like we lived in the country, so there's not like there's people outside talking. I don't know. It was really fucking weird.
I see. I wish I believed in ghosts.
Oh, you gotta believe in ghosts, bro. Come
I
on.
don't believe in ghosts. I believe in spirits and weird shit like that. I believe in interdimensional fucking beings. I don't believe in ghosts. I believe there's weird spirits out there who would like to make you think they're ghosts.
Well,
I
what
think
would you
it's
say
convenient for them.
What's the difference between ghosts and spirits for you then?
I don't think spirits are people. They're never people.
So they're just disembodied souls, essentially.
No. I would say that they're living basically in different dimensions on top of us, and there's some crossover sometimes.
So kind of like imprints.
No.
Oh, it's not like
Like
imprints.
you.
Oh.
Like you living in planes of existence, except there's planes that our body isn't meant to understand. Like we understand 3 dimensions, but there's probably infinite dimensions. It's just that we're wired to experience only 3 of them. It's like the idea. It's more like the idea of jinn in Islam, that sort of thing. How like they're like a race of beings that live on top of us. Except that idea didn't come. That's not like original to Islam. Like that came out of like the pagan beliefs that were around at the time. And all cultures kind of have this idea, whether they're demons or whether they're whatever they are. They're not us, and they're living on top of us, and we can connect with them sometimes. And I think that's the reason people do like rituals and shit to like conjure spirits, is they're trying to cross over to that other side, and they can do it too. We can do it, and they can do it.
So interdimensional beings that don't really occupy a physical form that we would understand.
They have their own form, and they could probably be understood as physical, depending on the situation.
Well, if we're talking about several different dimensions, physical to us wouldn't be the same thing as them, would it?
No, but there might be some overlap. I think this becomes most apparent when you're like, people in deep states of meditation have said this, but like for me, on like a strip of acid, like suddenly I feel like it's like you start to fucking feel like you could taste the color blue and shit like that. Like there's just this other plane that's working and you can't quite make it out, but you're like there experiencing it.
Okay.
I don't know. When you're tripping out, like you're pretty sure you're existing in like a bunch of different planes at once that you can't quite understand. I don't know.
That's interesting.
It is pretty interesting. I don't know. Psychedelics pretty interesting.